2017 Nissan X-Trail facelift revealed for America, indicative of Australian look. Update. The X-Trail's styling update has now been confirmed for Australia. See details at bottom of article. The updated 2017 Nissan X-Trail has been revealed this week, unveiled in the US where it is known as the Rogue. The revised SUV features the bold and broad new version of the company's corporate V-Motion grille, as well as revised headlights, new front and rear bumpers, and revised taillight graphics. New additions to the range include 19-inch alloy wheels on top-end models, and an automatic tailgate that's operated via a motion sensor under the rear bumper. On the safety front, the revised Rogue gains the option of adaptive cruise control, and forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection. Inside, the cabin features a new flat-bottomed steering wheel, an updated look for the center console, new trim finishes, a revised gearshift knob, and new seat fabrics. Hybrid. The Rogue Hybrid features a 105 kW/195 Nm 2.0-liter four-cylinder petrol engine under the bonnet. Wedged between the petrol engine and the continuously variable transmission is a 30 kW/160 Nm electric motor, which takes the place normally reserved for a torque converter. Clutches are positioned on both sides of the electric motor. All up, the hybrid system has a rated combined output of 131 kW, up 4 kW on the 127 kW/237 Nm 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine employed by the rest of the American Rogue lineup. The hybrid's lithium-ion battery pack reduces boot capacity by just under 6 liters with the rear seats up, and 25 liters when the rear seats are folded down. The Rogue Hybrid can't be optioned up with a third row of seats like regular members of the Rogue and X-Trail family. Fuel economy for the front-wheel drive hybrid is rated at 6.9 liters/100 kilometers, an improvement of 1.2 liters/100 kilometers compared to the non-hybrid versions of the Rogue. The all-wheel drive hybrid variant is marginally less economical at 7.1 liters/100 kilometers. Australia. Full Australian details on this updated X-Trail are still some ways off being locked in, but, unlike the Altima facelift revealed last year, this update is confirmed for Australia. Speaking with Car Advice Today, Nissan Australia Communications Manager Peter Fadiev said that this new look is indicative of what we can expect here. The timing, specifications and any others details about will be subject to future announcements.
Aaron here from TT Auto Guide. We're down on Nissan test driving the all-new X-Trail. I'm here with Richard.
What's up? Alright, so this right here is the fully loaded X-Trail 4x4. Now this comes with all the bells and whistles. Like, you don't have to do anything to this but drive. Bluetooth, flash drive, MP3 player system, all the same wheel controls. Tailgate is powered. Alright, you can do the foot sweep, or you can use the button on the key itself.
So you could just pass your foot underneath the bumper and it'll pop open?
Correct.
That's excellent.
You have front and rear air condition. You have the nice leather trim with the carbon fiber finish.
Finish inside this vehicle is quality.
Fresh.
Yeah, I really like all the brushed aluminum accents. As you said, the carbon fiber trim on the dashboard, this glossy center console for the infotainment and air condition controls.
For those who like to hit the beach, let's say heading Maracas Bay, Bacon Shack, you might want to take in our sun. We have all that covered.
Excellent. Well, I think that's where we could go for a test drive, eh?
So this comes with the panoramic sunroof and moonroof. So,
alright, yeah, we were briefly talking about safety and that kind of stuff. So you were saying 6 airbags, dual front airbags, side curtain airbags, and rear curtain airbags.
Correct.
Alright.
So we have, now this comes with the 2-liter engine, that is the MR20.
Okay.
Very responsive engine. Right? Transmission is advanced CVT, so you actually get more power for less fuel. All the readings for the vehicle right here. So if I want to check, it's just like a cell phone.
Yeah.
I can skip through right here. We have cruise control, chassis control. The chassis control is a feature so far that is exclusive to Nissan, right? What we have with it in the showroom right now would be the Qashqai and the X-Trail. But on the X-Trail, the vehicle quickly calculates your maneuver So let's say you make a sudden swerve, and typically that swerve would make your fishtail or lose control. What the vehicle is going to do is apply the right amount of brakes to the right amount of tires to keep you stable. There's the hill start assist, where if you're on an incline and you stop.
That's this button right down here by the four-wheel drive control.
Actually, this one is for the hill descent.
Ah, okay.
So once you click that and you're going down the hill, it's going to maintain a certain speed, so you can just relax and steer.
That's
right?
really a nice feature. Yeah.
But with the hill start, if you're on an incline, you know, in Trinidad, everybody like to ride bumper.
Yeah.
So one of those guys come up right behind you. You're afraid that if you take your foot off the brake, you're going to roll back a little bit. Not with this vehicle. So from the time you decide you're going to reverse, you're seeing right, wrong. You're seeing on either side. So the only way you're touching this vehicle is if you want to touch. Wow.
Lovely leather wrap feel.
Oh, and the steering could actually be adjusted, so you can put it on sport or normal. The sport is actually stiffer.
Okay.
Right.
And it's also, just let me stop.
Telescopic.
It's also telescopic and, alright, nice, and tilt adjustable.
So you're bound to find a comfort zone.
Alright, that's excellent. Alright, and this has all the ISOFIX and child safety features for the back, right? For the baby seats and everything.
You actually have the anchor for the baby seats in the back.
Right. Alright, well, we're now pulling back up at Marcy here to drop back off this lovely Nissan X-Trail. Just want to thank Richard.
So it's my pleasure, actually.
Yeah, man. Anytime.